AEW New Japan Forbidden Door is in the books, and it is one of the most special pay-per-views I think you will ever see. The whole build of this pay-per-view was that you're going to see dream matches, you're going to see things you've never seen before, and it is going to be an exhibition of epic proportions. And if that is what they built up, they delivered and then some. I'm going to run through the card, what I thought, my overall thoughts of the pay-per-view. But, guys, in all seriousness, I think that this might be the best interpromotional supercard I've ever seen. And I'm including Starrcade 95. I'm including the Ring of Honor New Japan show at the Garden in March of 2019. This topped it all because of this year's star power, because of the stakes that were on the line, and above all, the presentation and what this, and honestly, everything going into this card made you think that this should not have worked. The injuries to people like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and then some. This card should not work. Ishii got injured. He got taken out of a big match in this card. And then it happened. And then it was great. Let's talk about it, though. I'm not going to run through the pre-show. I'm not going to run through the buy-in card. Those were some really good matches to get you hyped for the pay-per-view, but I'm going to get right into the main card. We kicked off with an insane six-man tag team match. Jericho, Minoru Suzuki, and Sammy Guevara taking on Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota. Okay, so multiple things were happening in this match, all of which I absolutely loved. First of all, everyone who's watched this channel before knows that I absolutely adore Minoru Suzuki. He is a wrestling icon, in my opinion. This dude, put the strap on him, Tony Khan. I don't care what anyone says. Minoru Suzuki, at the age of, 52 or whatever, is the future of this business, kid. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, Minoru Suzuki comes out. Kaze Ninare is I would say probably the second most over thing on this show. Like, outside of what we saw with the debut later on. Like, the crowd was just going nuts for Minoru Suzuki during his entrance. The match itself was it was a less tame version of Anarchy in the Arena. Okay, I'm capping a little bit, but it was a mess. It was a bit of a mess, but in a very fun way. Very little tags, but that's not what this match needed to be. This match needed to be action. And here's the thing. They were able to actually tell stories throughout this entire match. The story of Eddie Kingston and Minoru Suzuki being two absolute maniacs who all they do is beat each other up with a smile on their face. The other story that I think a lot of people, myself included, enjoyed was the callback between Jericho and Shota when Jericho was beating up Shota's father a few years ago back in his run in New Japan, and then put Shota in the Lion Tamer. Shota was able to get a little bit of revenge on Jericho in this match. I mean, look, I know a lot of people are hating on Sammy Guevara, Ty Conti, and all that, but Sammy's still one of the best in-ring performers there is. Wheeler Yuta is having a year like nobody else, so they were able to get a lot of great people in this match. I think the way they showcased Shota as well was great. In the end, Jericho was able to hit the Judas effect on Shota for the dub. Overall, I thought this match was really fun, great opener, and it was able to kind of set the stage for things to come this Wednesday night at AEW Blood and Guts, which is going to be a fun card. But again, really good opener. I thought it was solid. Heels picked up the victory going into a big match. Pretty much what we expected. Moving on, winner take all IWGP World Tag Team Championships, Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, both on the line as FTR took on Jeff Cobb and the Great Khan, as well as Roppongi Vice. Okay, so going into this match, I was very much convinced that this was going to be the match where they sent the fans home happy a little bit with Roppongi Vice picking up the victory. FTR, though, were the most over people. The second most over people on this card, outside of again, the person I will mention in a little bit, but they come out to a thunderous reaction. 16,000 people in the United Center screaming FTR, FTR. It looked like Dax Hardwood may have injured his shoulder. They were playing that off after he fell down on an elbow drop, but he would go off for a while, and then it would be Cash Wheeler by himself, kind of fighting off the two other teams. Roppongi Vice did a lot of great moves. We saw the tag team efficiency of Rocky Romero and Trent Beretta together. I think Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan really did a great job of showcasing themselves as well. By the way, I mean, Jeff Cobb, for those of you not seen, this dude, bulldozer of a human being. He is the second coming of Rhino, in my opinion. Like, this dude is an absolute beast, as they called Rhino as well. Match was awesome. I love the part. So some of my favorite parts of this match were actually when Cash Wheeler was by himself without Dax Hardwood, who was getting attended to in the back. I thought those were some of the most compelling moments of the match because it was Cash Wheeler by himself, fighting off both of the other teams and trying everything in the book to try to keep his Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships as well as gain the IWGP titles. After a lot of back and forth, the end we saw Dax Hardwood actually return. He was instrumental in finishing off this match. I really, really think that there's a lot of meat on the bone with the FTR and United Empire feud here. The FTR versus Jeff Cobb and Great O'Khan. By the way, in the end, FTR ended up picking up the victory. They are now both the IWGP and the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, as well as also holding the AAA belts. We can expect that the FTR versus Young Bucks, I believe part 3, is not that far behind for some sort of unification there. They're like, FTR is going for all the gold, and this is part of their big time race to doing that. So, again, I really like this match. Was it the best match on this card? I don't think so, but on a card where you had match after match after match that just delivered on every single level, like, this is great. Like, here's the one thing I can say. In my opinion, on the main card of this pay-per-view, there was not a bad match. There was not a bad match on the main card of this pay-per-view. It was just action-packed. Just don't stop. Keep going the entire way. And I loved it. And everybody who, this was, I would say this, for consistency, this is AEW's best pay-per-view. And that's saying a lot, but on the main card, there was no match that was below average. There was no average match even. All these matches were good to great. So, consistency-wise, I think may have been AEW's best pay-per-view overall. Moving on, let's talk about the match for the inaugural AEW All-Atlantic Championships. Everyone who's watched this podcast or listened to this podcast before knows how much I hate the idea of the All-Atlantic title. Not the fact that it is another championship that exists. I don't mind that. I mind the name and the fact that it really has no meaning. The All-Atlantic Championship, which has flags from countries that aren't in the Atlantic Ocean. Doesn't make much sense to me. Whatever. It's the name. I'm just saying they could have came up with a better name. That's all I'm saying. It bothers me. I like geography. I'm a nerd. Anyway, AEW All-Atlantic title was decided in a 4-way match between Malachi Black, Pac, Miro, and Clark Connors, who was actually in there as a replacement for Tomohiro Ishii, who was injured recently after competing against Clark Connors to get into this matchup. So that's how Connors ended up in. He lost to Ishii, but by losing, he actually moved up a level. There you go. Wrestling. It's a work, kids, until it's not. I loved it because we saw a culmination of really what Pac and Malachi Black have been doing over the past few months in this match. There were a lot of the segments where they were going up against each other. It felt like, maybe this is the end. Maybe this is it. Maybe finally we're done with the whole Pac Malachi Black thing, which has been going on for a year now. We'll see about that, given the results of this match. But if this is the end, I thought this was a fitting one because we finally got this with stakes on the line. We finally got to see who would get who would get the better of who. The other big thing about this match was Miro. I was really excited to see what Miro could do in this big performance. And here's the thing. Miro really dictated a lot of what happened in this match because he was the big monster that everyone was at one point trying to get out of this match. Malachi Black set up a table and was able to put Miro in position so Clark Connors could spear him through a table on the outside. That didn't stop Miro. Miro eventually goes and puts Pac in the game over, middle of the ring. It looks like it's over. Malachi Black comes out of nowhere and sprays the mist into the eyes of I almost called him the Bulgarian Brute, into the eyes of Miro, the Redeemer, God's former favorite champion. And man, oh man, like seeing the black mist in Miro's eyes, like that took him out of the match. And it was basically down to Pac, Malachi, and Clark Connors. Good old jobber Clark Connors. It's a joke. But yeah, I mean, Clark Connors did a lot of great stuff in this match. I thought the spear through the table on Miro was really awesome. One thing I was kind of like on, I was like, man, they really, like, look, I love Clark Connors. Like, I love the idea of Clark Connors. But man, it's time to shave that head, Clark. That hairline ain't getting much better. Like, he's got that 1980s jobber haircut. Like, come on now, Clark. Come on. Also, that promo he cut. Oh, man. That's going to be... If OSW Review ever reviews this pay-per-view, that promo is going to be like... V1's going to have a time with that promo. Either way, I thought Clark did well, in all honesty. End of the match, we saw the crowd get on their feet. 16,000 people, like I said, get on their feet to watch Pac. I should say. I was about to say Malachi Black. To watch Pac hit Malachi Black with the 450, the red arrow, black arrow, whatever you want to call it. He hit him with that, and then he goes right into a brutalizer onto Clark Connors, who immediately taps out. Pac, finally, by God, finally, arguably the best pound-for-pound wrestler in the entire world. We've been singing his praises for a long time. Finally time to give him his flowers. The inaugural All-Atlantic champion in AEW. Well-deserved. He got a great ovation afterwards. The You Deserve It chants could not have rung any more true with this guy. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, man, I mean, look, if this means that Pac is going to be highlighted more on AEW television, that is a good thing, and I like it when stakes are on the line, so I don't mind him having this championship that they made. Hopefully they rename it, though, the All-Atlantic title. I'm just saying, it's called the All-Atlantic title, and it's got the Chinese and Japanese flag. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's like they're not even in the Atlantic Ocean. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Anyway, not to rain on Pac's parade. Congratulations, Pac. Well-deserved victory here. Anyway, moving on, a 6-man tag team match here. Bullet Club taking on the Dudes with Attitude. Sting bringing back that old 1990s Dudes with Attitude stable here. Little bit of, with a few different faces, I should say. Anyway, it was Dudes with Attitude, Darby Allin, Shingo Takagi. Oh my God, I cannot believe they just threw him in there in the 6-man match. And Darby Allin taking on El Phantasmo, Matt and Nick Jackson with Hikuleo in their corner. The reason I mentioned Hikuleo is because Hikuleo was an instrumental part of this matchup because he just kept on interfering. 6-man tag team match started with Sting doing an insane dive off the top of the entrance onto all 4 members of Bullet Club. Sting is like 60 whatever years old, and he just doesn't care. He's doing some of the best work of his career, and he just does not care. Sting was absolutely great in this matchup too, doing what he was able to do. Oh man, I love Darby Allin and Sting and all that. I do think that I'm kind of getting tired a little bit of seeing them in 6-man matches on pay-per-views. I think on Dynamite is great, but I kind of want to see Darby Allin take the next step and see what he could do. Maybe a world title run or a world title match at a pay-per-view. We'll see what happens there, but Yeah, I mean, like, I thought that this was cool. Like, the Bucks did their thing, the whole cartwheels. They were doing their thing with, like, super kicks, trolling. Yeah, it was cool. Generally, I thought this was one of the more weaker matches on the show. Again, this is still a good match, but generally, I thought it was a bit weaker than compared to the other stuff that we saw, which, honestly speaking, is to be expected. Uh, End of the match saw Shingo Takagi pick up the victory here for the dudes with attitude. In about 13 minutes, Bullet Club had to run with their tail between their legs, but hey, it was a good match, and it brought us to what was next. At least if for me, at least this was kind of like one of those low matches, and it prepared me for what was next, which was Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm absolutely tearing up the place in a fantastic match that will likely not get much praise because not many people were expecting it to be as good as it was, considering the lack of build to this match. Because again, AEW just doesn't build women's matches as best as they can. But okay, so they start off, they do the old sportsmanship, they shake hands, great, I love that, and then they just went off and started beating the absolute crap out of each other, which was awesome. They did a spot where they were chopping the hell out of each other. Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa, two of the strongest competitors in the division, just chopping the hell out of each other. The strong style was strong with both of these women here tonight. And honestly, like, it felt like from start to finish that they were just in a different gear. I like the spot where they were on the apron, and Thunder Rosa was about to go hit her move, and then Toni Storm reversed it into a German suplex onto the apron, bashing Thunder Rosa's head down. But this was great. I thought that they were able to put together a great matchup considering the lack of build. And Thunder Rosa ended up retaining with a nice callback to Dustin Rhodes. She was able to hit some spinning suplexes for the victory there. Great match. Should have had a better build. You definitely should have had a better build because these two were worth it, and they proved exactly why they're worth it through this match. But yeah, I mean, like, this was probably, like, I would say, like, one of the better matches on this show, technically wise, especially. And it just suffered, I think, from the lack of build going into it. Moving on, my favorite match from the show, Fight Me Internet, was Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy for the IWGP United States Championship. Here's the thing about Orange Cassidy. I know, like, there's a lot of, like Cornette hates him, and a lot of wrestling, quote-unquote, purists don't like Orange Cassidy. Look up AEW's most viewed videos. They're, like, all of Orange Cassidy. Like, on YouTube, they're all of Orange Cassidy. There's a reason why. His matches are so fun to watch. Like, I know I talk about Rey Fenix being, in my opinion, the most fun wrestler to watch. And I have, like, a ranking here. Number 1 is Rey Fenix. Number 2 is Montez Ford. Number 3 is this guy, Orange Cassidy. You know why? You know why he's so fun to watch? Because his matches make you laugh, can make you cry, can make you angry, can make you feel almost any emotion in the world, all within a matter of, like, 10, 15 minutes. I mean, these two tore the house down. All right, Orange Cassidy, anyone who says he can't work, he can't wrestle, shut the hell up. You don't know what you're talking about. Him and Will Ospreay tore it down. There were so many near falls in this match where I thought, there was one where I thought, like, Orange Cassidy had this one. Like, I thought it was one, and I got up out of my seat and, like, was like, what? Screamed. He didn't, but I mean, they had me. They had me. The story between these two was great. Will Ospreay got so frustrated with Orange Cassidy at so many moments within this matchup, and that was great. Orange Cassidy not fazed by any of it, and yeah, I mean, what? Ring psychology A, technical prowess A, high risk maneuvers A, entertainment A. 5 stars, 15. The United Center is a Tokyo Dome tonight. 20 stars out of 5 here from good old Tuna Meltzer. We love it. I thought this was amazing. Amazing. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, Will Ospreay is freaking insane. Orange Cassidy is like the best gimmick in wrestling right now. Just 20 out of 5. I don't care what anyone says. It's a great matchup. Moving on, we were all wondering who the mystery opponent for Zack Sabre, yes, that's how I say his name, Zack Sabre Jr., was going to be in replacing Bryan Danielson, and we found out that it was, in fact, Claudio Castagnoli, the former Cesaro, made his AEW debut tonight, facing off against Zack Sabre Jr. in an awesome technical wrestling matchup. Claudio will also be will also be joining the Blackpool Combat Club this Wednesday night live on Dynamite for AEW Blood and Guts, as William Regal would say. And Bryan Danielson, who was unable to compete because of a concussion, promised that whoever would be his substitute would get one of the best technical wrestling matches out of Zack Sabre Jr. And they did exactly that. This was technically wise. Like, I would say this and the Thunder Rosa Toni Storm match were like right up there. I loved this match. And how could you not? Cesaro like started off with some like really high intense fast break offense. He got all his moves in. He hit him with a neutralizer to begin with, and everyone thought it was over, but obviously Sabre was able to Sabre was able to kick out of that and regroup. But I love the back and forth between Bryce Remsburg and Zack Sabre Jr. in this match as well. Zack Sabre Jr. was taking like a lot of like time on the outside to breathe, and he was telling him to get back in the ring. Bryce was like, get back in the ring, and Zack Sabre's like, F off. Like, it was amazing. Oh man, this match was so good. Every move looked like it was painful. Every move looked like it was real. It was technical. In the end, Castagnoli hit a power bomb to win in his AEW debut over Zack Sabre Jr. The match between Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson will happen, but this was if we were gonna get another replacement for Bryan, this was the perfect one. Moving on, our penultimate main event. Jay White defending the Jay White defending the IWGP World's Heavyweight Championship against Hangman Adam Page, Kazuchika Okada, and Adam Cole, baby. All right. 4-way match for the IWGP World title. Exactly what you expected. It was insane. These four men went out there and absolutely tore the house down. They beat the crap out of each other. And in the end, Jay White did exactly what we thought Jay White would do. Kazuchika Okada hit the Rainmaker on Adam Cole, baby. Jay White was able to hit his move on Okada, taking him out of the match and taking advantage of a prone Adam Cole, baby, in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Jay White pinned Adam Cole, which is pretty much what I expected, because I thought this was going to build up between a match between Jay White and Adam Cole down the line for the IWGP title. And after the match was really what happened. Like, I know Kazuchika Okada, Hangman Adam Page, here are your flowers. Everyone knows you're great. I want to talk about Jay White and Adam Cole and the storyline that they're building, because that's the thing that excites me the most. So the Adam Cole and Jay White thing, like, there's been these hints. They've been so buddy-buddy over the last number of weeks and months that you almost expect, like, eventually these two are going to feud. And the ending of this match really hinted towards that. As Jay White is going up the ramp with his IWGP title in hand, you see the Young Bucks and Red Dragon come out and arguing with Jay White, just like giving him a very disgusting look as they go and tend to Adam Cole, who was they were saying was injured. I don't think that's, whatever. But man, like that look, I cannot wait for this match. Those two are gonna. Anyone who didn't know Jay White before tonight, that's Jay White for you. He's great, and him and Adam Cole are going to do magic in the ring together one day. Those promos as well are going to be amazing. Please give me this feud today. Moving on, finally, for the AEW Interim World Championship, Jon Moxley took on Hiroshi Tanahashi in a dream match that lived up to the hype and then some. So The term dream match was obviously thrown around a lot with this. Moxley's been waiting to get his hands on Tanahashi for 3 years. Tanahashi said that it took 3 years for Moxley to get on his level. I love the back and forth. The pain. like these two just went out there and hurt each other. That's what happened here. These two just went out there and hurt each other. Like, Moxley at one point just decided, I'm going to hurt you, Tanahashi. And he just picked him up, threw him through a table, chokeslammed him through a table. And it was such a good back and forth. Like, this was a match where neither Mox nor Hiroshi Tanahashi really had control. And I like that. It was like both of them were fighting till the very end to see who would get control of the match, and no one ever really got control of it, which kind of made the ending a lot better in the way, because Mox was able to just hit his moves in unison, in stereo, a few times after a few near falls, and pick up the victory. So Mox hit, I believe, a paradigm shift. Tanahashi kicked out at 1, which enraged Moxley to the point where he hit him with a super paradigm shift. 1, 2, 3. Look, this was this was great. This was great. Moxley was bleeding. I talked about this in a video earlier on, so I don't want to get too much into it. But this was the perfect way to end off the perfect exhibition show. Like between these two, for the AEW World Title, with the story that was told in the ring. I think they hit it out of the park. They knocked it out of the park. Afterwards, the Jericho Appreciation Society came out and attacked Moxley ahead of the big Blood and Guts match later on. And then everyone who was in Blood and Guts came out, and it was a big melee. Castagnoli was able to fight off the heels in the end. So that's how the show went off the air. But AEW Forbidden Door as a pay-per-view. Look, it's weird to rate this with other AEW specific pay-per-views, because this is at the end of the day, this is an exhibition. This was a joint venture, an interpromotional pay-per-view. That being said, it's a special night. Is it AEW's best pay-per-view they've ever put on, as far as in my opinion, their overall package? No, I still think All Out 2021, in my opinion, All Out 2021 is the best wrestling pay-per-view since WrestleMania X7. The internet doesn't like that take. It is what it is. That's my opinion. I still stand by my opinion that this is AEW's most consistent pay-per-view, match to match to match. There just was not a bad match on this card. Each match was good to great, and that's honestly all you can ask for from a pay-per-view. That's all you can ask for from a big show. So I loved it. Overall, let's rate it out of 10 here, folks. I would give it a 9.8. This is 9. Okay, no, I'm capping. 9.9, 9.5, 9.5. I would give the show a 9.5. There were a few things that I would have liked to have seen a little more, get a little more time and browse. The fact that some of these matches had 1 or 2 week build, I didn't like. Some of these moments were great. The Orange Cassidy match, Orange Cassidy versus Will Ospreay, best match of the night. Most fun to watch, entertaining, whatever you want to call it. Best. Yes. That won it for me. But again, this was a fantastic night of wrestling, an important night of pro wrestling, and a fun one for all the fans who tuned in. And if you haven't tuned in, stop listening to this review right now and go check it out. It was so much fun to watch. Let me know what you guys thought of AEW Forbidden Door, though, in the comment section below. Hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. And as always, be happy, be healthy, and keep it real.